Gentlemen, distinguished guests, good morning, and thank you all very much indeed for coming out on not a too pleasant morning this morning, but delighted to see you all on what is a very happy day for us, and it's a very happy day, I know, for all recipients today. I'm extremely grateful for the attendance of our distinguished guests today. Councillor David Smith, the Mayor of Ashford, delighted to see you, sir. The Right Honourable Damien Green, the Minister of State for Policing and Criminal Justice, who's going off to America. He said he's delighted that the United States government are open for business tomorrow, otherwise he might have a wasted journey. Delighted to see you, sir. And our local county councillor here in Edgerton, Councillor Charlie Simpkins, and his wife Wendy. Charlie, delighted to see you, and Wendy, delighted to see you both. Although not on my note, we're also very much indebted today to Edgerton Parish Council for the use of this wonderful hall. It's a lovely building. I've actually been to a theatre production here, and it all works extremely well. And I'd like to say to Alison Ritchie, thank you very much indeed for making this possible today, and indeed thank you for all the local WI team for preparing the buffet that we're going to enjoy very shortly. The Provincial Grand Masters charity sounds a sort of very impressive charity. It's not that huge, but we are expanding it to enable us to do more work in the community. And it's part and parcel of what we do and what we enjoy. So the Freemasons of East Kent, and this is what today's all about, are able to make presentations to charities that make a difference in our communities, in our province, which is a large province. We go from sort of west of Westmoreland and Paddockwood, almost the whole of the geographic county of Kent, if we ignore places like Sevenoaks, Tunbridge Wells, and those bits attached to London, we're the rest of it. But we're delighted to be in our heartland today and to be able to make these presentations. For any of you that have not been to one of these occasions before, what we do is go through the list of recipients. There are 15 this morning, and we ask each of the recipients to tell us something about the work that the charity does, which gives us all, of course, an indication of how the donations will be used. And it's always, for me, both a humbling and informative and a very happy day when we hear what each of these charities do, because they're so worthwhile, and we are delighted to support them. So, with no more ado, I move on to present the first cheque, which is to the Young Lives Foundation. I have to say that I have some personal interest here, because I didn't need much persuading, but I joined the board of this trust at an early time. And it's a wonderful trust. It looks after very disadvantaged youngsters who are in the care system, and helps them improve their lives, and gives them value and helps society as a result. It's a tremendous charity, and I'm delighted to ask Stephen Gray, their Chief Executive, to come forward to receive the cheque. Stephen.
A massive thank you to the Province of East Kent Freemasons for your generous donation and for your ongoing support of the Young Lives Foundation. Some of you know of us, some of you don't. The Young Lives Foundation is a dedicated children's charity working with disadvantaged children across the whole of Kent. We're lucky enough to be at a time where I'm employing new members of staff to support the young people, because demand for our services is increasing. Unfortunately, there's more young people in need, but luckily we were able to meet that demand. And the money that you've given us today is going to be used for upgrading our IT systems, and looking at having remote staff based in East Kent particularly to support troubled families and the young people that live within those troubled families. So I'm very grateful. Now, I've been told very clearly that as I'm going first, 3 minutes is 3 minutes, because I set the benchmark and everybody will follow. Okay, so I want to be very clear on that. So I'm going to finish very shortly. Before I do, I just want to give you a real example of how we support young people. I'm going to tell you a little story about Louise. Louise was 17, and she'd been in foster care since the age of 11. When it was time for her to move on from foster care at age 17 and start to live independently, she struggled with that. It's quite scary having to live on your own at the age of 17 and live independently. She said, one thing that hit me hard was the responsibility. I was totally dependent and responsible for myself, and that was really scary. Louise struggled with this as she attempted to take her own life on 3 separate occasions, and she was admitted to hospital. While she was in hospital, she contacted us, the Young Lives Foundation, and asked for some support. So we visited her, and she'd not had any other visitors previously in hospital. On release from hospital, Louise met a duty social worker at the housing department to apply for supported housing. She was deemed too high risk to accommodate. The best they could offer was bed and breakfast for that weekend, and for her to come back on the following Monday. Luckily, the Young Lives Foundation had a weekend away with another group of young people, and we had a space available, so Louise jumped in and she joined us for that weekend away. She had a great time. Took her mind off some of her problems, and gave her a boost in her confidence and a break from the pressures of her life. We also allocated a mentor to work with Louise, and with the mentor's support she was able to find accommodation. The mentor would advocate on her behalf, ensure her rights were being met, and give her welfare priority. Our mentor supported Louise to find new accommodation, helped her furnish and decorate, learn how to budget, and gave her someone to talk to, which was the most important thing during a really difficult time in her life. Louise has now managed that transition to independence very well. She's living independently, she's studying for a childcare qualification, and in fact, despite the fact that she's moved away from the area, she's coming back next week to see us, to take part in an activity, from Sheffield actually. And she said, I didn't think for 1 minute I would have come this far, but with the support of my wonderful friends at the Young Lives Foundation and my drive to have a good life, I think I'm finally getting there. So that's my 3 minutes. I'm happy to talk to anyone else at any time. I've got plenty of newsletters if you want to take one away today. I've brought them with me in case you want to take something away. But I look forward to meeting you and talking with you over lunch after this ceremony. But thank you very much on behalf of the young people that we work with. Thank you very, very much.
The second presentation is to the Woodchurch carriage driving group. It's a Woodchurch local-based charity seeking funds for a hydraulic lift to assist with the loading and unloading of wheelchair-bound clients. And we look forward to hearing. Is it Jean Borman's going to talk to us? Hello, Jean. Do come forward, please.
I'm a volunteer with Woodchurch Driving Group for Disabled Adults. We are going to use this wonderful grant, for which we are very grateful, to buy a mobile hydraulic lift to help with the transfer of our wheelchair-dependent clients to and from the carriage. At the moment, we use an integral ramp at the back of the carriage, and we have to push those people in their wheelchair up the ramp, followed by somebody walking on the ramp, and then they stand on the ramp while the chair is secured into the carriage. This is cumbersome and heavy work. It puts a strain on volunteers' backs. It worries the clients who are being loaded, and it, most of all, puts a lot of strain onto the back of the horse who is in the shaft, supporting the balance of the carriage because they only have 2 wheels on the carriage. The use of a lift, purpose-built, will be like a scissor hydraulic lift with a platform, purpose-built platform put on the top of it, where we will be able to load the people independent of the horse, wheel them to the carriage, pump the lift up to the level of the back of the carriage, drop the front ramp and wheel the wheelchair off straight onto the carriage. That negates all this business of walking up that ramps and heavy work and worry that we have at the moment. And the end result hopefully will be happy volunteers, happy clients, and most of all, and this is paramount, happy and healthy ponies, because without them we couldn't run our charity, and therefore we don't want to obviously damage their backs. So I'd like to say a huge thank you for this cheque. This is very important to us, and we couldn't have done this without this money. So thank you very much indeed. I'd also like to invite the Grand Master and any members of the Freemasons or anybody here who would like to come along and see the ramp in use next season. We've now finished for the winter. We don't have indoor facilities, so we have to close over the winter. But from April next year through to the end of October, we will be meeting every Wednesday at Woodchurch, and anybody who would like to come along and see and hoisting use, they'd be very welcome to see the work that we do, and we'd be pleased to meet you. Thank you. And I know this is not a recruitment drive, but I am going to say this. If anybody would like to volunteer with the group, I'd also be very pleased to hear from you, because we're always short of volunteers. And it won't be such heavy work once we've got this. So thank you very much.
Friday People. Friday People is a Maidstone-based charity which offers training, mentoring and on-the-job learning for under-24s who are seeking employment. And I'd ask their Chief Executive, Nick Ward, to come forward, please, to receive the cheque.
Good morning, everybody. If you're a young job seeker, probably the biggest trap you face is you'll hear, "We got no experience, so we can't give you a job." And we all know that if you've got no job, you don't get any experience. So what we as a charity do is we use coaching to actually help the young people identify what it is they really want to do. Then we bring them back to earth. Then we provide them with the training they need to bridge the skill gaps. And then we set up supervised projects which work in the community, where we do everything pretty much from running music events to working with the Maidstone River Festival. And the key thing there is when you, as a young person, have finished one of our projects, you've had every kind of experience from managing money, sorting out events, organising timing, but more particularly, you've actually done a job accurately and you've done it on time, and where there's money involved, you've done it inside the budget. And just about 70%, well actually it's 69%, 69% of all of the young people who work with us actually are supported into work. And that's work across the spectrum, from marketing through to actually working in catering. So everybody gets the kind of job they want, and they are secure in that job. Now, I'm very grateful to the Grand Master and all his colleagues for this particular donation. What it allows us to do now is to break into a new area. We're going to be working in Ramsgate with a community of young single mothers. And what we're going to be doing there with colleagues is actually giving them the opportunity to change their view of themselves. It's not just about getting self-confidence. It's about understanding that they can actually advance their skills, that they can become better parents, they can become, shall we say, better able to appreciate their skills, and they can acquire the training they need to move them into work. And we're really excited about this project because it's a new venture for us. And when we get it absolutely right, we can then move out all the way across Thanet, and indeed into places like Maidstone and North Kent, where there's a particular problem with this community. So may I say, how much we appreciate this support. Thank you very much.
The next recipient, and I'm delighted to make this, is to the Faversham and District Scouts, based in Faversham and seeking to refurbish their dilapidated toilet block on a much larger scheme to refurbish the entire camp facilities at Faversham. And do we have David Fagg? David, if you'd come forward. And Simon, delighted to see you both.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for this wonderful opportunity to come and talk to you about Shepherd Park and scouting in Faversham. My name is David Fagg. I've been involved in scouting for 65 years, not only in this country, but in various countries abroad. I'm currently the chair of the Board of Trustees to Faversham District Scout Council. And this is Simon Moore, who is an Explorer Scout and also on the Board of Trustees ex officio, representing, with a couple of others, the 300 young people that we serve in Faversham. Apart from the Shepherd Park, the district owns 2 other properties, and they do own them outright. One in the centre of Faversham, in Partridge Lane, and one out at Borden-under-Blean, where we have just restarted the cub pack and the beaver colony, and hopefully by the new year we will have reinstated the scout group in that village as well. We also lease a property at Ham Road from Brett's for the Sea Scout group with their water activities, because there are the lakes associated with the quarries there. Apart from Shepherd Park, we also have a responsibility to support the young people and the leaders who are all volunteers in all their various activities. The district purchased a redundant milking parlour and a barn plus 2 fields in 1979, thanks to a generous donation from a worthy of the town. It enabled us to buy this property, but the resources were such that we were unable to carry out much work on it just to keep it watertight. The site consists of 2 fields with a narrow country lane, Plumford Lane, going down between them. And that lane is used by the local farm traffic, and it is very, very close to the main Faversham-Ashford Road. As you can probably appreciate, the toilets are in the main building, so any activities that go on in the other field, any toilet needs have to be, the children have to be taken across the road. And at night, especially if it's wet and windy, and they have to have an adult with them, not good. And when they're having activities in the field, totally disruptive of the activity for children wanting to go to the toilet. Children from the age of 6 are accommodated there. And when funds allow, it is proposed that we will upgrade the main building so that it will become a centre of excellence for various activities such as rifle shooting, archery, climbing, within a very modern, updated building. But that is a long way in the future. And until such times as we get the first bit done, then we can't even think about the second bit. We appointed Paul Leader as our official fundraiser because we hadn't got the time or the resources to raise this sort of money ourselves. And thanks to him, he has pointed us to you, and we are extremely grateful for your interest and your generosity. Thank you very much.
Next charity, I'm delighted to present to a new Folkestone-based charity which offers support for families suffering bereavement of a baby before or at birth. And the charity is called Abigail's Footsteps, and I'm delighted to welcome Karen Gambrel and David Philpott as the Chair of Trustees.
I'm chairman of this incredible charity. I think unlike any other group here today, we don't have any literature to hand out because we've only been registered for a few weeks. But we're an incredibly important charity because in this room today are people who have suffered bereavement by losing a child either before birth or at birth. And Karen's going to tell you a little bit about how we're going to spend this money that you've given to us, and then I'll wrap up with a couple of thoughts.
Okay, the money will be used, as David said, to actually produce literature. We are looking to support those parents. We're not looking into why stillbirth happens. There are other charities that are looking into that. But we are specifically set up to offer bereavement counselling and bereavement training to those parents, and also to try and encourage midwives to actually have bereavement training. At the moment, it's not compulsory for midwives as part of their ongoing career development to have bereavement training. And as the charity was set up by parents who lost a daughter, Abigail, to stillbirth, their experience wasn't the best possible, and they found some of the midwives could have perhaps benefited from some training to be able to support them. The money specifically will be used, as we said, to produce literature for parents at the hospital. David and Joe Ward, who set up the charity, when they suffered this tragic experience, they were handed 2 pieces of badly photocopied paper that they said had probably been photocopied 1,000 times, which just had very basic information on. But we want to produce proper packs that will be free of charge, provided to the maternity units, that they can give to parents, that will give them support and information that they need at that difficult time. So explain to them that yes, you are able to have your child baptised, and what they can ask for and what they can do at the hospital and afterwards. We're also the money will be used to help produce those packs, but we're also producing a film called The Deafening Silence, and that is being filmed through the eyes of a mother at the hospital and going through from the experience of being told that unfortunately her baby has died in the womb to actually delivering the baby and what happens afterwards. And that film will be shown to midwives. It's mainly aimed at midwives to try and encourage them to actually want to participate in bereavement training. And it will be shown at our ball in December. And also we're very lucky at the beginning of December, the Mail on Sunday are running an article about the parents, David and Jo, and about their experience and about the charity. So on the back of that, we hope that there will be a link to the video, and a lot of people will want to watch that and hopefully encourage the training. So we really are incredibly grateful for this support to the Grand Master and to the Province of East Kent to enable us to carry on working, to be able to support these parents, and as we said, try and encourage these midwives to participate in this bereavement training. So thank you.
So the point is that we're a very young charity. We've only been going, I think we've only been registered a year, but you would be amazed at how many high-profile, famous people have lost children through stillbirth. And because of that, we've been able to garner quite a lot of celebrity support. We have people like Julie Etchingham that reads the news, Victor Abugu, the former England rugby star Sean Lloyd that does the weather, Cheryl Baker of Bucks Fizz, Stacey Solomon's going to be singing at our ball, together with our Mail on Sunday feature that will be read by 6 million people. We need to be in a position to have something to send them. So out of a little charity born in Medway, based in Folkestone, we hope to impact the whole of the United Kingdom forever, really. So thank you very much for your support.